Well, let's kick off with Mum being born in Johannesburg and having a brief period there. Parents had emigrated from England, and then, if my memory serves me correctly, the whole family, there were three children, one brother and one sister, came down to Barberton, where my grandfather, Mr. Ernest Hooper, bought the Phoenix Hotel, refurbished it, and the children grew up in Barberton. He eventually became the mayor of Barberton. And my mother recalls, as a young girl, her first flying experience going out to the airfield at Barberton and having a flip, either in an aircraft that was based here or an airplane that had come in from Johannesburg. But in any event, that sold her on the whole idea of flying, and she was determined to fly, and it took an enormous amount of persuasion. I think it was actually her mother who actually persuaded her father, who was a strict disciplinarian. He was a great believer in Mum's ability to do this job, but he felt that she should have some other degree. And he forced her to do a shorthand and typing course, which she said was the best thing she'd ever done, because she was able to rapidly type and take notes and do all the things for the subsequent things that happened in her life. And so once she'd done that, she was then allowed to go up under strict supervision. She stayed with my aunt in Kensington, and she went out to Baragwanath, where she started her flying training. And then over the years, she was the first woman to hold a commercial pilot's license in the Commonwealth, and then the first woman instructor in the Commonwealth to have an instructor's license. And so she carried on doing that up to the time that war broke out. And just incidentally, at Baragwanath, she met another commercial pilot who was my father, at that time doing instruction at Baragwanath as well, and I think also at Grand Central. And then obviously my parents, or her parents, didn't approve of this liaison at all. The war was breaking out. My father joined up, and they ran away and got married. So anyway, her parents weren't very happy with that at all. Married to by this time my father was an Air Force pilot, and Mum was just was literally flying in the commercial world and instructing. But then when war broke out at a certain stage, they were at home in Johannesburg. When the phone rang, my father picked up the phone, and the voice said, "Hello, this is the Prime Minister." And he replied, "Well, I'm the King of England." And the voice said, "Look, I am actually General Smuts." And he said, "Oh, I'm terribly sorry, sir. I thought you were one of my friends." And he said, "I want to speak to your wife, please." So my mother came on the phone, and he said, "I'd like to see you in my office in Defence Headquarters tomorrow morning." So Mother went there in the morning, apparently, this young girl of 23, I think she was at the time. And when she got to Defence HQ, she was ushered into Smuts' office. "Sit down." Said, "I followed your career through the years. I'm very impressed with that, and I think I need someone to take over the Women's Aviation Association, the Women's Auxiliary Air Force it was in those days, and I would like you to consider taking the position." So he said, after some discussion, he said, "Do you think you can do it?" And she said, "Yes, sir, I think I can." And apparently he said, "Then you shall. And my door will always be open, because there will be some rumblings in the background, no doubt. A young woman, getting So anyway, she came home and she said to my father, you know, they've asked me to take over the Air Force, the Women's Air Force, with the rank of major, and he was a lieutenant at that stage. So there was much um, merriment around there, and he said, of course you must do it. You must do it straight away. So within a week or so, she'd gone back, attested, and the rest of the story is obviously well documented of her rise to the rank of lieutenant colonel, and um, by all accounts did a magnificent job of arranging the women's Air Force. And then I think, you know, then the children started to come along, and then after the war she was very much involved in women's aviation and a great champion of women in all over. And that's really the reason why I've come back to Barberton on a number of occasions. I've been into the old airfield before, and I was hoping to see it again today, but I didn't manage to do that. So that's really the story in a nutshell. So it was nice to go and see the old Phoenix Hotel and to drive up the mountain and look down on the whole, you know, the whole vista of Barberton, which really meant a great deal in our lives, and in all my family's life. So really, that's yeah, that's about it, I think.
Doctor, thank you very much for your time. And you're leaving tomorrow?
That's a great, yes.
You're leaving. Okay.
Well, we leave tomorrow on our way to the Kruger National Park, and yes, and the other thing that I hope to see today, the Indian community of Barberton gave my mother a illustrated address, which was a framed address thanking her um, for the fact that she'd done so well in the state president's air race, and how pleased they were that she had been a member of the Barberton community, and so they were sort of in some reflected glory there. But I didn't see the address, and I shall make a plan to find out where it is. I thought it had been donated to the museum, but
I'd love to know.
I will go and have a look and see whether I can find it.
Thank you so much for your time.
My pleasure.